So I've now seen season 6, episode 10 of Rick and Morty, and it's more or less what I thought it was going to be. We got a little bit of the episodic, and we got some teases of Rick trying to capture Rick Prime. So this episode, surprisingly enough, was a Christmas special, and it did give us one of a decently sized reveal that I didn't see coming. The Rick that we've been following since like the previous episode, he was a robot. The therapy hasn't been helping Rick. Rick has trapped himself inside of his lab trying to search for Rick Prime because this guy is somehow everywhere all at the same time. Is very confusing. But Rick programmed it to be 22% nicer to not only Morty but the whole family. The whole family has been loving this Rick. The episodic plotline I wasn't necessarily the biggest interested in, kind of like the last episode where I wasn't really into the whole night stuff. I wasn't really feeling the whole lightsaber thing in this episode, but the character directions they have for Rick and Morty, and I guess even the president, are all kind of interesting for me. Morty feels betrayed by Rick because Rick sent a robot over here, yada yada yada. Rick feels betrayed by Morty because Morty said he's boring and he does a lot of boring shit, and he's like, I guess that's what I get for letting people in. They hurt you? And I'm like, well, Jesus Christ, dog. Don't compare Morty to Rick Prime, okay? Like, it's okay. Like, he just called you boring. And the president's just a dick. I thought he was gonna die in this episode, low-key. He wanted to help Morty get the lightsaber. Then when they got the lightsaber, he's like, oh, actually, I'm gonna take this for myself. So therefore, he also betrayed Morty, and now the wedge between Rick and Morty splits it off a bit further because of the president's intervening with that situation. According to the timeline of this season, Rick has been down here in this lab for months, trying to look for progress on how to capture Rick Prime. He's been seeing him shake that ass mockingly for the longest time. He has a little shadow of a beard now, and he's on the verge of finding something out. Boom, he has a location. Somehow now, there's locations scattered across the entire galaxy. What is going on? How can he be in multiple places at once? I'm assuming it's just clones or something, I guess. Like I mentioned earlier, this is basically what I assumed this episode was going to be. An episodic adventure with maybe a little hints and teases towards where Rick Prime is. Maybe we get a little advancement in there, and this is exactly what that was. And at the end of this episode, Rick says he's going to drag Morty into it. Morty, we're going to be going over season 7, maybe not every episode, but this is going to be something that me and you are going to be focused on heavy throughout season 7. So I'm going to be interested to see how this plays out in season 7. I'm not expecting every episode in season 7 to be about this, but it could possibly happen. Rick also said that maybe they do it in the background, but I'd rather them not do it in the background because we already had Evil Morty done in the background, and I don't want this to be done in the background as well. So I'd probably say do it like season 5. Season 5 had like 6-7 episodic episodes, and the last 3 were like very introspective, very story-driven episodes. I think that's a good story structure for seasons to go by for Rick and Morty. Mostly episodic, and then at the end, boom, a lot of story development. That's great for me. I think that's great for me, and it'll satisfy everybody's interest for Rick and Morty. The only thing I feel down about is that therapy really didn't help Rick. It kind of made him more obsessive to find this Rick Prime guy, and it's kind of sad to see. It's kind of sad to see the state that he's in, and somehow retroactively it makes everything that happened in the previous episode with the Knights of the Sun feel more like it actually was sarcasm, more like it literally was the Vat of Acid episode, because even though Robot Rick was being sincere and genuine and stuff, it still feels like very condescending because Rick isn't there. That's not Rick actually saying that. He may feel that way and not express it, but he's forcibly pushing his family and loved ones away so he could focus on this vendetta that he's on. And this could end in one or two ways. Maybe he finds them and defeats them, or maybe he is obsessed to the point where he ends up dying because of it. That could happen. And I kind of wouldn't be opposed to that, but then it wouldn't be Rick and Morty if Rick actually died. Whatever they do in season 7 and the rest of the seasons, I'm interested in at this point. This second half has been a lot more fun, a lot more jovial, a lot more character introspective episodes, and I like it. Even this whole season, for Morty's character specifically, he's felt a lot more like a kid and less like Rick in this season than in previous seasons, where he's like just killing people and he looks uninterested in everything. He seems a lot more like early Morty did in this season. As long as we don't get more episodes like the first half of the season, I'm completely fine. I don't want to see Rick and Morty interact with dinosaurs. I don't want to see any more incest happening in Rick and Morty. I just want to chill and watch a funny episode or a very serious episode. It doesn't matter which. I just want to have a good fun time interacting with Rick and Morty and talking about it with you lovely people, and I know you guys love talking about it with me, or I guess just looking at me talk about it. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I might make a full season 6 video for the main channel, but I'm not 100% sure yet, so tell me your opinions on this season in the comments down below, and I'll get back to those as soon as I can. The season was a mixed bag, as most of the seasons have been recently, and again, it's like the early halves are not that interesting and the later halves are always more interesting. So yeah, I guess that's just the thing they want to do. So yeah, that's basically it. Opinions down below, and yeah, I'll see you guys around next time. Okay, goodbye.